even clips, and they date back to 1995.
Has not stopped. Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months. They have the wherewithal, the stored up, the preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it. Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs. Time is running out. Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
And you had a similar refrain coming through in a slightly more comic way, as is his want, from Mike Hosking's producer, Glenn Hart. I don't know if you remember this, but there's this place called Iraq, and they were making weapons of mass destruction, which is why we need to go in there and sort them out. I mean, later on we found out that they didn't have any weapons of mass destruction, but, you know, I'm sure these guys are getting good information, and this is not like that at all.
So the sarcasm there, pretty clear. Glenn Hart laid it on really quite. But it's the soundtrack, but like the Daily Show there, when having the jaunty soundtrack in the background really takes the sting out of it. Of course, you know, now that things have developed in the days since then, that the situation has de-escalated, I guess that seems in context, you know, at the time it just seemed a bit jarring. But Mike Hosking himself, you know, the man Glenn Hart produces, he had doubts as well about, and expressed them about, Iran being that close to being nuclear capable.
Very much playing things down this week, applying some skepticism. He noted that US officials, the IAEA and others have pushed back on the idea that Iran's close to getting a nuclear weapon, and he put some of that to the Foreign Minister Winston Peters on his show.
Tulsi Gabbard was telling us just the other day she didn't, and the IAEA is suggesting they don't think so either.
Well, look, the level of enrichment is pitched the cap way beyond any other prior negotiated purpose that they gave. I mean, some facts are facts.
He was calling for people to go back to reality, and maybe that was good advice to some of the pundits. He also actually gave that advice to the pundits later on in the interview.
One of the worst things in the perspectives of war is truth. And boy, if we see it now with every comment and every expert giving their views, perversely they are not in any way related to what's happening on the ground.
And the panic of the week trailed off to something approaching calm, at least by the standards of what we're seeing on Sunday and Monday. But some of it, like image-wise, kept coming, right?
Yeah, Thursday. It seemed like everything was fine, and then stuff, bang, out of the gate, ran a montage of multiple mushroom clouds sweeping across the nation with an empty tank symbol superimposed on it, and the headline, "Nuclear war could kill 22,000 Kiwis, cause $1 trillion in harm." That report.
And this was based on an actual report that had been conducted saying what the impact of nuclear war might be, right? But I mean, it looked very much to me like someone had said, hey, AI, create me an image of, you know, the looming threat of nuclear war over New Zealand, twinned with the threat of petrol becoming unaffordable, unavailable.
But even in the headline about 22,000 deaths, $1 trillion in harm, we've still got the petrol tank sign there.
And that went to the very top of their most popular stories chart later in the day, so possibly driven by that image. Maybe that's what you referred to earlier, the social media
Search
kind of
engine optimization, right? People are searching for it.
As we said, things calmed down a little bit towards the end of the week, and it looks like no imminent wider war at the moment. Were there any oases of calm?
We're searching for something to calm us down. That was provided by 9 to Noon's politics commentator Dale Husband at the end of their segment this week, and he summed things up like this.
Thank you guys very much.
So let's just finish up. You know, I know we sort of sense there's gloomy news around, but you know, having just come through much of the weekend, Paul, and to both of you, I just want to wish you well. And as a day for us, if we call Aotearoa home, New Zealand home, you know, it's got clean hands, hasn't it? It hasn't got the angst of Waitangi Day. It's not an important public holiday. It's a special day to value relationships. I want to wish both of you and your whānau well, Catherine, Ben, and anyone listening today. We're very lucky to live in such a wonderful land.
Yeah, so very lucky, very lucky. No mention there of Iran, of Trump, war, but I think it's pretty clear what the context was that he was talking about, and that was on the Monday morning when those headlines about we're heading for World War III were still circulating, and $3 petrol. Okay, thanks a lot, Hazel, for your look back there at how our media responded to events earlier this week. Last Monday on 9 to noon, Catherine Ryan told her listeners this.
The vast majority of searches online are done on Google, and the tech company began incorporating AI into its searches a little over a year ago. Last month, its CEO announced a further step where the typical search experience of getting links to websites would be gone entirely, replaced with an AI-generated article answering the search question. This will affect the ability of businesses, large and small, to get their websites, their URLs, in front of customers.
And we're already part of the way there with Google's AI-driven overview service.
I see this on my own desktop. I put in some keywords for a search looking for some website articles. At the top, I'll get a little AI kind of summary of what it's found searching. Pretty damn average, I have to say.
Catherine Ryan is not the only one who reckons that Google's overviews are underwhelming, as we'll hear shortly. But what should we expect from AI offerings these days anyway? Last month here on Media Watch, the BBC's head of technology forecasting, Laura Ellis, seemed to be telling me, don't expect too much.
I do think there is a kind of very strange bit of human psychology which says that machines, we expect a very high bar for machines in a way that we don't from humans. So we're doing a little test recently on human subbing versus, how you might have a machine generating content. We